On this week's Maritime Matters, proudly sponsored by Neal Brothers, we're diving into the world of the United States Coast Guard, the men and women who keep our shorelines safe and help make the happenings at the Port of Charleston possible. I'm honored to be joined by Vice Admiral Michael McAllister to talk about the Coast Guard community here in Charleston and what's next. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me today.
I'm honored to be sitting next to you. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about your background and who you are.
Well, I was very fortunate to have served in the Coast Guard for 36 years. I had the opportunity, along with my family, to serve all over the country, travel all over the world, have a lot of exciting missions, a lot of sea stories to tell. But after I decided to hang up the uniform, I wanted to go to the place that I thought was our greatest assignment opportunity. I had the opportunity to be the senior Coast Guard commander here back in the early 2000s, and so it was Charleston that we chose to retire to, and I just really love the opportunity to stay engaged with the waterfront community here.
Yeah, I know many people see the Coast Guard out and about. They came here in the 1700s?
Charleston was one of the original 13 locations where we had what were then called revenue cutters. And it was the revenue cutter South Carolina that was stationed here. Wow. And so the Coast Guard's been here for more than 230 years doing its many different missions. Now the Coast Guard has changed dramatically over that period of time. It's consolidated with other agencies like the Life-Saving Service, the Lighthouse Service, but it continues to serve the people of the Low Country as best it can.
So recently we've had some exciting news here in Charleston. Let's talk about what a Coast Guard community here is and how people can also get involved and support this.
Well, I appreciate the question. So one of the important things to note is that the Coast Guard has plans to grow here in Charleston pretty significantly. There are a number of different Coast Guard units here, a number of large ships, but recently, back in 2020, the Commandant of the Coast Guard came here to Charleston, did his State of the Coast Guard address, and announced that Charleston was going to be an area that the Coast Guard invested in and potentially bring additional ships to. So the Coast Guard plans to probably double the number of Coast Guardsmen here, the number of Coast Guard ships here. And so that's the backdrop for an exciting opportunity for Charleston to be named as an official Coast Guard community. So the Coast Guard has this program where they identify the communities that support Coast Guard members and their families in extraordinary ways. And so working with Charleston County government and the Navy League, of which I'm a member, we were able to apply for this special designation, and I'm pleased to report that the Commandant has selected Charleston as the next official Coast Guard community, and the Commandant, will come here and make that announcement.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned before, this is hundreds of years in the making.
That's right. That's right. The program has been officially in existence for about 25 years. It's congressionally supported, and so it's a very rigorous process. And it's really only those communities that do extraordinary things to support Coast Guard families, Coast Guard men and women who are out there performing missions. And so it's got a pretty significant backdrop to it. I'll give you a couple of examples just by way of describing what it takes to be a Coast Guard community. So each of the school districts in this area are called Purple Star schools as designated by the state. What does that mean? That means that they help military kids who might be coming in and out of school in the middle of the school year. You know, they've probably been to numerous different schools. It helps those kids assimilate more easily into schools. This is a real significant challenge for military families. I know you come from a military family, but I'll give you just one example. My son, my younger son, went to 4 different high schools in 4 years. That's tough. So assimilating kids into school is important. Another example, hiring military spouses. You know, you might imagine that some employers stay away from hiring somebody that they know is going to move 2 or 3 years from now. Well, communities like Charleston actually have a lot of programs set up to attract employers to military spouses, and because they're, you know, by and large, really strong employees, you know, very ethical and contribute to the community. And so those are just a couple of examples of what it takes to become an official Coast Guard community.
Definitely. So how can the community get involved and support the community of the Coast Guard here in Charleston?
Well, that is a great question. So we are really excited about this big announcement event that's coming up, but this is really a long-term relationship between the Coast Guard and the community, and so we're excited about growing that relationship as well. So it may be things like I already talked about with helping kids assimilate into schools and offering employment opportunities to spouses. It may be just saying thanks to a Coast Guard family or to Coast Guard members for their service. Understanding the challenges that come along with that. The Coast Guard is hiring, and so we'd love for people here in Charleston to learn more about the Coast Guard, take the opportunities through open houses and tours and those sorts of things. Coast Guard service is truly exciting. As I mentioned before, I've served all over the country and all over the world. And it's a great way for young people to start off their careers and build skills and work with exceptional people doing missions that really make an impact on the community.
Semper Paratus, right?
Semper Paratus, always ready.
Always ready. Vice Admiral, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.